ladies and gentlemen, to Motor City Uncut, episode 168. It's presented by the Major Sports Network Detroit. We're back after, what, a 3-week hiatus?
That was only 2.
Yeah, it was only 2.
Was it only 2? Okay, last show, I believe I had to run off. No, we skipped a week because we had a 2-hour draft special.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was. So we have not been on since the 16th of last month.
That's what it was.
And today is May 7th, so...
May 7th, yay!
I don't know what's so special about May 7th, but...
I don't know.
It's May 7th. Congratulations, and it's almost over here in the Eastern Time Zone.
Wait, a happy belated birthday to...
Both of us.
Oh, nobody cares about you. I was saying happy belated birthday to Adam over here.
Yeah, yours was what, last...
It was Saturday.
Saturday, and mine was the week...
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, mine was the week before that, on Sunday, so... Happy birthday to us!
You're growing up.
Nice.
Slap hands, slap hands.
Slap hands, slap hands.
Yours is Cinco... God, could you be more stereotypically Hispanic?
My birthday is on Cinco de Mayo.
Your last name is Hernandez.
Yeah?
That's not racist.
And your birthday is on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah?
Couldn't you be any more white? Jeez.
I'm
No,
not
we
sure.
can't.
I don't think I can. I really don't think I can. For those who are watching on camera, you can see my very red complexion is because I got like 2 hours worth of sun on Saturday.
Oh, you white man.
Yeah. Sean, you're like white hillbilly. At least
I tan.
I'm summer
For crying out loud, I tan.
At least I'm suburb sophisticated.
Oh, jeez.
Golly. Anyway, eventful day here in Detroit sports. Pistons waited about 5 weeks longer than they should have, and fired Stan Van Gundy today, finally. T-minus 9 days until the NBA draft combine, so they might want to get on finding his replacement, like, yesterday. Because not only do they not have a coach, they do not have a VP of basketball ops, which means the front office is now a rudderless ship. One name that I saw floated around today, Brent Barry. Any thoughts, guys, on that?
To lead the front office.
Well, yes, as a front office executive, not as a head coach or combo pack.
Well, you're gonna get one of those guys that, and because that's what I mean. Tom Gores is obviously a very hands-off owner. He's gonna get a guy.
No kidding.
I mean,
he's gonna do whatever he wants.
Couldn't be bothered to come off his vacation to do this firing in a timely manner.
I mean, he's gonna get a guy that he's going to, trust to run the organization from top to bottom. I mean, Brent Barry's a veteran NBA guy. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. I mean, it's
happened today.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know yet. I know some other guys they were talking about Chauncey Billups a few weeks ago. That was going to be in conjunction though with an Arn Tellem. They kind of run the business side with Chauncey Billups running the basketball end of the front office.
I think that's a relationship that could probably work.
Yeah, but that's what you'd have to do if you want to bring back a guy like Chauncey Billups. What
about Brent Barry? What's his?
It was an analyst, NBA analyst this year.
Analyst this year.
Yeah, that's what he was.
Doesn't John still do studio stuff? His brother.
Yeah, his brother does. What does he do? You see him once in a blue moon. I can't remember.
Anyway,
they can bring back John Barry too.
They're brothers.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We're gonna be co-presidents, guys. No, I would. Of course, you'd love to. The easy name to grasp at is, Chauncey Billups is VP of basketball ops. Pick a coach, whoever Chauncey wants. Don't make any demands upon him, or whoever your president ends up being. The other, David Griffin is another name I saw as a possible VP of GM. Let's just call it GM for better terms.
Yeah.
Former general manager of the Cavaliers, who Bron fired after going to 4 straight conference finals with him. Bron had him fired. So, because it's amazing what happens when you cater to Bron's whims and you get all his friends on the team and they all suck.
And then they get traded.
And then you trade them. And your team sucks. Anyway. But yeah, those are two names that I've kind of seen immediately off the top of my head. At this point, it's still too fresh for me to have done a deep dive on who might be a better candidate, who I'd like. So you guys have anything to say about this other than what took so fucking long? Jesus Christ. I mean, there's one thing being laid, hands off or a laid back owner, but the responsible thing to do was to do this at least minimum 3 weeks ago. Maximum. I mean, you should have done this. To
be honest, I thought
you should have done this before the deadline. You should have never let the Blake Griffin trade go through. If you had plans or even thoughts in the back of your head about firing Stan Van Gundy at the end of the year, there's no way you should be able. That's a 5-year anchor, 4-year anchor in this case on the franchise. That hampers your ability to do anything for the next 4 years. What self-respecting general manager or anybody with experience is going to come to this shit show? So you're going to have to roll the dice on an unknown commodity. Like a Brent Berry.
I think, something that I want is, and it's something that I think that the Pistons are going to have to do given their financial situations, is and I think this is a general theme with all of us here, is I want a new thinking guy. I want a new age thinking guy. I know that the Toronto...
Can we trust the process?
Well, I want somebody like who's the guy in Toronto? Is it Masai Ujiri or something?
I could never hope to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I want somebody like that who is going to be, and again, that seems obvious, but I want somebody
who can think outside the box.
I want a fresh thinker with this team right now, because you're going to need some fresh thinking in order to manipulate. Maybe manipulate's not the best word, but get creative with the situation that they're in right now monetarily, because they are very handcuffed. They're very cash strapped moving forward for the next, for the next few years. And if things are going to be exciting down at the LCA, you're going to need some type of creative thinking going forward. And I think that, and I want to see that in the front office. And I want to see that with their new head coach too. I want to see somebody young. I want to see somebody who has new ideas. I don't want to see an NBA coach that's been a journeyman or that's on his third or fourth team. I want somebody with who is getting a new chance.
The baseball or the basketball equivalent of Gabe Kapler.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, why can't even if they have to go to the college ranks. I mean, look what the Celtics did with Brad Stevens. I love Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens was, former coach of the Butler Bulldogs. He did a phenomenal job with them. But when I will be quite honest, when the Boston Celtics hired Brad Stevens, I was thinking to myself, God damn, how is Brad Stevens going to transition from a place like Butler, which has, God, maybe a quarter or close to half the students.
The entire student body couldn't fill the lower bowl.
Yeah, I mean that's what Butler's. It's a small private college in Indianapolis. That's what it is. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how is Brad Stevens going to transition from Butler over to the NBA? And he did it, and he is.
Look where they are now.
Yeah, he's on the verge of going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
He looks pretty damn solid.
And that's what I want.
Without his two best players.
His two best players, yeah. I mean,
and not only is he doing that, Philadelphia was running away with, they were the odds-on favorite after one round to emerge out of the Eastern Conference. They're down 3-0.
Yes, they look
Boston
really bad.
has pantsed them in all three games. You took, Golden Boy Ben Simmons and made him look like he's never played organized basketball before. Yeah. All without your two best. I mean, Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. Gordon Hayward has played, 5 minutes all year?
Yeah, he's barely
Kyrie
played.
Irving hasn't played in 6 weeks.
And he's done for the season. So
yeah, they're both done. I mean, holy crap. You're doing this without, what? That's over $50 million in salary.
Yeah.
That's an incredible job for Brad Stevens. And you'd love to say you'd love to be able to pluck the next one out of the college ranks. The only problem is every name you're going to be able to come up with, like a John, even local, is Owen Beeline. They're old.
A guy that
they're not going to.
Yeah, I don't want
to work.
No, I don't want to. And Beeline wouldn't leave anyway. Beeline has
I don't think Izzo would either.
No, Beeline has a good gig. in Michigan. I mean, he's older. Why would he want to
Yeah,
leave to go
exactly.
to the NBA? And at this point, in
What
his
else does he
career,
really have to prove? To be
And I
Of
honest?
course, you only plan on working 5 more years.
no, and you know what? I wouldn't want Sean Beeline. I wouldn't. I want somebody. I want a young guy, fresh thinker, who is open to new ideas.
Shaka Smart.
You know, if this
He's
was
been a disaster in Texas.
if this was a couple of years ago and he was, killing it at VCU, then yeah, I would want a Shaka Smart. But I think that I don't know. But you know what though? In all fairness to Shaka Smart, Texas as an athletic program is a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a shit show. I mean, look at look at Charlie Strong when he was able to leave them.
Yeah, I've got a funnier name for you. Just one that you should take with a grain of salt. How about LeVar Ball?
Oh God!
Just kidding.
I actually have.
Gotcha.
I actually have somebody that I thought about.
Gotcha.
He's only been coaching in the D League or G League, I should say.
Oh.
Jerry Stackhouse with the Raptors, 905. They had the best record of their career, season this year.
What about giving Jason Kidd another shot?
No.
No.
J-Kidd?
Jason Kidd.
I don't want Jason.
No.
Why do you not like Jason Kidd?
He was awful.
I don't know. He just
Yeah, Timberwolves kind of have flourished.
Dude, I can see Jason Kidd and what's his name? My mind is one blank. Dude, we traded for. Oh my gosh, my mind is blank right now. Power forward.
Blake Griffin.
Yeah, Blake Griffin. I could not think of Blake Griffin. That was
wow.
I had a brain fart, but I can see them two button heads like big time.
Okay, I mean,
Jason Kidd is
remember he purposely spilled his drink on the floor so he can get a timeout.
Yes,
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
I do.
Yeah, he purposely he was drinking like this pop in a cup, and he spilled it on purpose so they would have to take time out to clean the floor up.
Huh, well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
On that note, maybe. No, but I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Dorf? I mean, who do you want your next guy? Is it?
There's a couple of guys that are currently unemployed that have had good success, just for whatever reason. They lost the war between star player and head coach. The organization picked the star player, like Mike Budenholzer. Good success in Atlanta. Took a you could argue starless team. I mean, depending on what you think of Al Horford. What the hell is that?
That's my water.
How was that?
I'm sitting there. I was like, "What was that?" It was the ice cube falling down.
Physics is amazing.
Oh my God!
I really thought it was something like a computer. I was like, "What?" And then I looked over to see a water bottle.
Something to tell us about your water bottle?
It's frozen. I was like really confused at first. I was like, "What is that noise?" And Adam was looking at me, and we didn't know what was going on. And then we looked down, like, "Oh, it's my water bottle."
I was getting kind of nervous.
I know. It's like, but I pulled this out of your refrigerator. So
right behind my head is an AC unit, in-wall AC unit. I was worried that something was like about to boil over the coolant. And I was about to get my entire back scalded off or something.
Hey, this place is haunted. Remember that? Remember when we heard that thing running around the attic?
There was a raccoon in the attic.
Yeah, that was a raccoon.
I know.
Anyway, where were we?
You're pointing out your
David
new
Fizdale, also good success in Memphis. Just impatient ownership. Not that they gave him more than chicken shit to make chicken salad with in Memphis, but those guys aren't. They're safe hires. They've had success at the NBA level. Didn't seem to have problems connecting with their players. Just incompetent organizations cost them their gigs. So, I mean, you can even see like David Blatt, but it's so hard to see with David Blatt, former coach of the Cavs. How much of that was just him having LeBron, where you could say, "Here's ball, go play,"
yeah,
or how much of it was actually a good coaching job by Blatt? So,
I'm sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what about the assistant coach in San Antonio? Was it? I can't pronounce his first name. Like Messina or whatever.
I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry.
Okay, never mind then.
Well, first step is firing some front office
general manager,
people.
yeah,
and then that'll fall in place after that. I wish it worked out with Stan Van Gundy. I like Stan Van Gundy. I think he bit off more than he could chew though with trying to run an organization and trying to coach at the same time.
He's never done that before.
No, he hasn't.
So that's the thing. I'm like,
he hasn't, and I think he would have gotten his final year, but what happened, and I think that Tom Gores was going to be willing to give that to him, but I mean, we know what happened. he went up there. He tried to get a contract extension. When he
Mhm.
didn't get that, and when Tom Gorris wanted him to take a step back and just be a coach, that's
was
where
like,
that's
"No."
where it
See ya.
fell apart. I mean, and
Well, that's the thing is like after his incident of this whole situation with Detroit, he's never gonna be a GM again. He's gonna be only a head coach. Nobody's gonna hire him in to do that.
I think he might be toast.
I think he might be done too. I think we're gonna see Stan Van Gundy. You're gonna see him. You're gonna see him on TV. That's where you're
You
gonna
think
see
so?
him. Yeah, he'll be
He'll be a good like him. Put him with Charles Barkley in TNT.
Oh, it'll be phenomenal.
Oh my
Shaq
gosh.
and Charles Barkley.
It'll be phenomenal. That's
you have Shaq and Barkley on one side, and then Stan Van Gundy in the middle.
yeah. That's the one thing about Stan Van Gundy is he's not afraid to speak his mind. And
Or you could see him on as a regular guest on Speak for Yourself or whatever.
speak for yourself. What is that on?
That's a Fox Sports One. Isn't that Shannon Sharp and
And what's his
Oh,
name?
God.
Oh God, I can't stand that show.
it's not Coward and Sharp, is it?
No,
Or
it's
Bayless, skip Bayless and Sharp.
Bayless, yeah, Bayless and Sharp.
no thanks. I like Stan Van Gundy too much than
Anyway,
having to see him deal with that bullshit. Ugh.
anyway, anything else on the Pistons?
Mm-mm.
Next, since everybody else on the Twitter sphere seems to be having this debate this week, Brian Lewerke or Shea Patterson? Discuss who's better. I don't like it.
They're the same.
What do you mean you don't like it?
This is a dumb topic
Then why'd you put it on here?
because
Yeah.
you said I should.
I didn't say you should. I said that there was you were looking for stuff to talk about. And
Yeah,
I suggested
I
it.
know.
Yeah, jeez.
It's a dumb, but we're gonna embrace debate here at the Major Sports Network. Don't sue us, Fox. And we're gonna talk this out. Does anybody have any strong opinions either way? To realize that I need to remind people that Shea Patterson, by the way, has 10 career games under his belt. Just saying.
Yeah.
But playing in the SEC though.
Yes. It wasn't.
The bad side of the SEC.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to throw something out there for you.
Yeah.
Have you seen his
jeez.
performances against ranked teams?
So he's going to be going from the bad side of the SEC to the good side of the Big Ten. So he's going to be.
Well, by the way, Michigan still has no talent out wide. Have fun.
Looks like he's gonna be running a lot.
Well, there's no guarantee. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, because his offensive line blows too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the first thing that we have to answer here is Shea Patterson going to be the starting quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines?
Brandon Peters who's another option?
It's
Dylan
gonna be one of the.
McCaffrey.
It's gonna be one of those two.
Dylan McCaffrey. I wouldn't. It's not going to be Peters. Let's put it that way. It's going to be McCaffrey if he explodes in the fall, or Patterson until proven otherwise.
Okay,
But
so
it will not be Brandon Peters.
okay, so Patterson's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Hey, you never know. Dylan McCaffrey may. If not, I wouldn't be surprised.
What was Lewerke coming out of high school?
4-star league.
Was he a
one kid.
4-star?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's a
so you
league
have
one kid.
so you have a 4-star going up against a 5-star. That's what you have here. The 4-star going up against a 5-star. 4-star has more experience,
Mhm.
has had better
It's also a year older.
has had better success against better teams.
Mm-hmm.
Has actually won something.
Actually won something. Right now, going into the clubhouse or coming out of the clubhouse, that is, you have to say it's Lewerke.
Well, the one, if you just look at a basic, stat line for each guy, the one thing that you are going to give Shea Patterson significant advantages to, it's not necessarily completion percentage. They're within, 3-4 points of each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's the yards per attempted number. Brian Lewerke's is a pretty pedestrian average, 6.7 for his career. Had that number both seasons that he played. Patterson had that same number as a true freshman at Ole Miss in 2016, but upped that to 8.7 yards per attempt here in 2017. So a little bit more prolific downfield passer. The passer rating is a little bit better, but at the same time, it's very hard to compare offensive systems apples to apples. You've heard me gripe up a storm about how archaic Michigan State's offense is. Ole Miss is not that, and they do like to hug it around the yard. So there's quite a bit of advantage in the just easy yards per attempt from Patterson's perspective. But I don't know, man. They're about the same build. for Patterson being the more prolific, people think of him as a more prolific runner. Lewerke's running stats are significantly better. Forgot to put those in the rundown, but Lewerke's actually ran quite well last year. Actually won a 100-yard game. On top of, I think, scoring 8 touchdowns with his legs. So another thing to
How does that factor into the Michigan State backfield next year or this coming season?
I think they will do their darndest to try to not have him run.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that last year was out of necessity. Also, at the very beginning of the year, a lot of it was comfort. He wasn't comfort with his receivers going, to a third read and a progression at that point you're playing, subpar opponents. You say, fuck it, and you run. You saw him stop doing that later in the year. Hell, I mean, he had like 70 yards in the opener on a QB sneak up the gut because they forgot to cover a gap at the first or second level. So one missed tackle by a safety and he's off to the races. That really happened. He got 70 yards on a 4th and 1 QB sneak. Or it might have not been 70, but it was a huge chunk play on a QB sneak. But at the same, you're not going to see it happen again. So, I don't know, but there's quite a few NFL, let's call it draft analysts that are quite high on Lewerke. He does have a nice year. They might see him come out. So, he's a redshirt junior. Patterson will be a true junior. So, he's a 1-year age difference. I think it'll be fun. I'm gonna level with you. I haven't seen a lot of Shea Patterson play. I've heard all the hype, but I haven't seen him actually play in person. So.
But I mean, it's hard to look past the problems that Michigan has had on offense, though, especially when it comes to the wide receivers. And I think that
still don't have any talent out there.
I still think, and that's why you hate to sit here and you hate to put everything that people did on John O'Corn. You hate to put everything that people did on Spade. I mean, just because that it was. And you looked at what they did the season prior to that, the way that Jim Harbaugh was running Peppers into the ground by playing him on both offense and defense. And lo and behold, we see why he had to do something like that. I mean, simply because it added an extra spark to an offense that, perhaps was really quite pedestrian in that sense. When you look at this whole Shea Patterson deal coming in, I mean, yeah, you cannot help but look at the situation that Michigan is going to have even next season when it comes to their wide receivers and whether or not Shea Patterson is going to be good enough, prolific enough to go in and turn that Michigan receiving game completely around so he can make, and make those guys better. Can he do that? Possibly. It certainly seems like he had the talent in high school, going into college. It's not like he's coming from from a mid-major or anything like that. So that is some of the good news. He's not coming from a mid-major. He's not coming from, like Ball State or San Diego State or something like that. He's coming from Ole Miss, and he has played in some games, perhaps not as many as you'd want him to. And
he's had success to a certain extent.
So, who knows? Who knows? But right now, I mean, if you're a Michigan State fan, I don't think you need to be completely... I don't think you need to be scared of Michigan finally getting Shea Patterson in tow here. You've got Brian Lewerke, who is every bit as good, if not better, than Shea Patterson is heading into this season. And it just goes to show. And like what you said too, Dorf, half of Michigan State's problem is how conservative they are with the offensive playbook.
Oh, shoot me! Don't give me.
I mean, if they want to open things up on the offense, then open things up in the playbook. You've got an exciting, talented quarterback there. You're not sitting here in the years that that you're trying to make things work with what's his face. Who was the quarterback? Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
Andrew Maxwell.
I mean, you're not running out Andrew Maxwell out there.
He was actually
anymore.
a 4-star recruit, believe it or not.
I know, but he never transitioned very well to college, and it didn't work out. Who's he falling to? Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he followed Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're not dealing with something like that at Michigan State. You're dealing with a guy who is exciting, who can throw the ball when he's asked to. He has legs. There's multiple things he can do under center. I don't think you need to be. I don't think you need to be scared of Shea Patterson if you're Michigan State fans. I think you have the better quarterback right now. How that progresses throughout the season is a totally different story. Because Shea Patterson still seems like there's still more to be seen from him.
Okay, John, you got anything you want to?
No.
All right. Next, we're going to spend the remainder of the show here recapping the Lions haul in the NFL draft. We were not on the air last week to do it. We did a national show right before, kind of dabbled a little bit with our expectations of the Lions going into that. On that show, you can catch that anywhere you're watching us now. Essentially, you'll be in archive or at the majors.net. So.
Well, website's not up right now, so head over.
Oh, that's true. That's right, because we're moving hosts.
Yeah, so...
And, not to call anybody out, but HostGator, hurry up.
But no, if you want to hear that show, also you can head on over to soundcloud.com/Empire X Radio.
There you go. You heard the man. Do it. Your boss commandeth you. All right, so just to recap, the Lions in the first round took offensive lineman, primarily going to play center, from Arkansas, Frank Ragnow. Second round, they traded up in the second round and took Auburn running back Kerryon Johnson. Third round, kind of surprised, they took defensive back Tracy Walker from Louisiana Lafayette. Kind of at first, kind of head scratcher of the day. Fourth round, they traded into the fourth round after giving up that fourth round pick to move up in round 2. Trading next year's third to draft Alabama defensive lineman Deshaun Hand. Well, probably in the 3-4 scheme, you'll probably see him going forward. He'll be a 5 technique. Fifth round, they took offensive lineman from Oregon, Terrell Crosby. Absolute steal, if you ask me. And in the 7th round, they drafted fullback from San Diego State, Nick Bawden. Finally, after not carrying a running back, fullback last year, after cutting one of the league's better ones in Michael Burton, just because they weren't going to use him. Adding one back to the roster here going forward. So, just as a class as overall, just some thoughts, guys, at all? Any position you're surprised they didn't take? Any pick that kind of made you scratch your head? Any comments?
I'm not surprised with how early they took a running back. I fully expected them to take a running back in the second or third round, and they did. I would have liked for them to take a defensive lineman, though, in the third round. And I know Tracy Walker looked pretty good coming out of Louisiana Lafayette. I would have loved for them to take a defensive lineman in the third round.
Had him, or industry analysts had him as a 5th or 6th round guy. But if you believe what Bob Quinn has to say in his post draft comments about it, we do a lot of scouting and figuring on what other teams, based on their visits and what they have guys do and stuff like that. How interested they are in a player, and they were pretty darn sure that he was going to go a couple picks later, and he was a guy that they liked, so they couldn't wait, so they had to take him then. So if that's truly the case, and they didn't get duped or false intelligence or whatever, so be it.
Yeah,
then you got fair value because you weren't the only guy who thought.
I'm not gonna kill him. I'm not gonna kill him. I would have preferred a defensive lineman. I would have preferred an edge rusher at that spot. That's it.
Okay,
that's it.
You really didn't get an edge rusher in this draft.
I know.
No.
You didn't take one at all. Hand is just under 300 pounds and is going to play that 5 technique. You could probably play him as a strong side end and a 4-3 as well. Probably have him lose a couple pounds. But, yeah, I mean, you didn't take another draft class full of beef. They did not take, did not take another quarterback despite the kind of hubbub that they might. He did not take a wide receiver or a tight end. Instead of investing 2 picks in the offensive line again. Not that I'm going to really complain about either one because, Ragnow addresses an immediate day 1 need. He's going to play for you right away, and you stole Crosby in the 5th round. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. Sean, you got anything?
At first, as soon as we drafted Ragnow, I literally called Adam. I'm like flipping out. I was just like, what is going on? You know, I'm like, is our mindset, we were just like, we need that edge rusher. We need the edge rusher. We need to do something smart on that defense. And then looking at it more, like
something must have been wrong with Harold Landry, man, because
he fell.
He fell
later.
Yeah, I was gonna say he fell quite a bit. So like, but looking at it, you know, I'm liking it way more now after I've calmed down and did more research on it. It's like Ragnar could look like, you know, maybe throwing a name out there might be too big of a name as Alex Mack. You know, like maybe something similar.
I think
to
a better pro comp form is Nick Mangold.
Okay, there's another one too. So, you know, I'm like, if he can turn out to be anything like one of those two, I'm happy because when was the last time we actually had a good center? You can't say Dominic Raiola was a good center. I mean, he got the job. Right. He was okay, but like, we haven't had that one guy that actually takes over the offensive line and leads that offensive line. So this guy could possibly be that. I'm hoping, but you know,
well, Ragnar was one of PFF's favorite players. He was one of their darlings in this draft, and I was reading up on him from there. And it seems like you kill two birds with one stone with a guy like Frank Ragnar. The guy, they say, has some of the strongest hands you'll ever see. Even when he makes a mistake, he's able to make up for that mistake because of how strong his hands are and what he's able to do if he's actually beaten off the line. And this is a guy too that didn't allow a sack throughout his entire career with Arkansas.
Allow a sack.
Yeah.
Entirely in college. And then you could a guy like Terrell Crosby won 3 years ago.
Yeah. And
playing left tackle in a spread offense.
And you look and you see, and when you look at a guy like Frank Ragnar, I know it's not a sexy position. It's not the edge rusher. It's an interior offensive lineman.
I actually had them drafting him
in the second round
later.
Yeah. But you know what? You can see what the Lions are doing here. You can certainly see what the Lions are doing, and you take what they're doing and you compare it to take, for instance, the Cleveland Browns, who I have no fucking clue whatsoever the Browns are doing.
Pick 1 and 4, and I forget who said this, but I'm going to steal it. I don't think they got a top 5 player, and they got to pick twice in the first 4.
Well,
the hell are they doing?
And we laughed about the Jets taking Baker Mayfield. And then the Browns is blew our mind.
Jets are going to take him at like 3. I don't get it.
And you're like, no.
You know what though? It's kind of funny though, because what they did, because if the Cleveland Browns are going to go that route, they should take
Barkley.
They should take Barkley. Yeah. Take Barkley. That's the move you make, and then you draft your quarterback.
And guess what? Mayfield would have still been there at number 4.
And then you take. Well, unless the Jets go in.
No, they had Darnold higher. They sprinted to the podium.
Well, after Baker Mayfield was taken.
Yeah. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe he's still here.
See, I don't know. I think the Jets would have. I think the Jets. I had the Jets in my. Sean did too in the mock draft, but I think that forced the Giants to take Saquon Barkley. And when you know what? They should have taken a quarterback. The Giants
did end up taking one around 4.
That's okay. That's fine. They were more primed to take a quarterback at that spot at number 2, because when you think about it, it's a perfect situation for the Giants. They can come in, they can learn under Eli Manning, who has seriously seen everything that you can possibly see in the NFL, playing in the most strenuous market that you could possibly play in. Eli Manning has seen it all, and when you think about it, he's the perfect guy to learn under. But they were forced to take Saquon Barkley. You're not going to pass on Saquon Barkley. You can't do it. But when you're looking at Cleveland, they do not have a game plan in place for this team. With the Lions, you could at least look and see, okay, they draft Frank Ragnar. Their offensive line is complete.
Yes.
Nothing need to do anymore.
They don't need to do anything. They have their offensive line. They have that protecting Matthew Stafford. They go and they
got a road grader at the same time.
Yep, and they go and get their running back. They're ready to go. They're ready to go do business on offense. Defense, on the other hand, there's still a little bit more, to be seen with that. But you know what? Is this the Patriot way, though? And I hate saying that, but it kind of is. It kind of is.
Build that offense.
The Patriot way is never been taking that best player available. It's a guy that's kind of in the range that fills a need.
Yeah.
That's always been the Patriot way. And
Dorf,
I like that.
And Dorf, you looked at it before. You looked how shitty their defense was. How they just
how they
put it together with basically chewing gum and thumbtacks.
Yeah, they don't
just
spend
score
any
a
money
shit ton of points.
They don't spend any money in the front seven.
That's what they do.
They spend it all in the back four and on offense.
And I'm sure that's what Matt Patricia knew what he was getting himself into when he was coming here. He's like, okay, this is something that I've dealt with before throughout my entire career in New England.
I've had success. Let's
do it here too. Why not? We've got a former Patriot in the front office, and
you're walking into a good quarterback. So it's like, no, screw it. Let's just keep going.
Anyway, I fully expect the Lions also to make a free agent signing here, probably defensive tackle, especially after Akeem Spence wasn't a scheme fit. He wasn't. It wasn't going to work.
And what do we get a draft pick for him?
Conditional 7th.
Yeah. So.
But you got the money off you didn't have to cut a guy.
Right. Exactly.
Not to play for you. I fully expect him to make a move at defensive tackle, like a run, just a beefcake.
Who are some players?
Hankins comes to mind. He's a Detroit native. Ohio State grad, spent the last couple years, I believe, in New York. The Giants, if I remember correctly. No, Indianapolis most recently, before he was drafted by the Giants. That's what it was. I fully expect them to make a move on a big nose tackle. I'm not convinced that they're done at nose besides Sylvester Williams. I really think Ashawn Robinson is going to be your lead dog at like the 3 tech. And then the 5 technique is, either going to be Ziggy or maybe Sean Hand or, combination thereof. These guys are going to play all over the place. I published a projected depth chart last week, and I actually have, at this point, Anthony's on the list as a rush linebacker. I fully expect him to lose a little bit of weight and not put his hand in the dirt ever again. So,
if he can do what he usually does,
backing up Davon Kennard at that starting, rush linebacker position. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, good draft class. Do we want to do letter grades, or we just want to not really?
Just all together?
Each round, each player.
Nah,
it's 2 weeks out. Who cares?
I think altogether I'll give him a B+.
Yeah.
I'm saying a C+.
C+.
C+. I kind of like. I'm gonna go B.
B.
You got good value in all places. I'm not thrilled about trading next year's 3rd for a 4th. I mean, that is fair value, but I'm not thrilled about it. And you know what? You probably could have got Nick Bodden in free agency, but then again, I'm bitching about a 7th round pick. Who fucking cares?
What's going to happen to Numbnuts? Running back.
Abdullah?
Yeah, Abdullah.
I have him making the team.
I mean, he doesn't make any money, or he
really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he could. There's really no point in.
You use him as a gadget. Then you can use him as a punt and kick returner. You can use. I mean, whether you really want to pump out Jamal Agnew out of a job, but you can use him as a punt and kick returner. You can use him as a a gadget guy. You can use him. Could not dress him, and he can just be depth, and that's okay. I mean, you could have John. Your 3rd down back is going to be Theo Riddick. I mean, your thumper is going to be LeGarrette Blount, and your kind of most down guys is going to be Kerryon Johnson, and that's okay.
You got to see how Kerryon Johnson transitions too. I mean, it's
big change from Auburn to the NFL.
I mean, it's no guarantee. Even though he's a 2nd rounder, it's no guarantee that he doesn't come in and make some noise.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
anything else, guys? We're just going to do a little bit of cut room floor stuff here with the Tigers. Apparently, all of them have the flu. They just started their season opening series game against Texas Rangers.
They have the flu?
Apparently, all of them do. Pretty much. That's why Castellanos and Candelario were both not in the lineup on the same day, because they were both apparently puking their brains out. So,
but Castellanos did make a pinch at bat.
Yeah. That's apparently why they didn't play.
Isn't flu season over?
Obviously
Apparently
not.
Pussies.
Daniel Norris is, after we spent a good time talking about him on our last episode, is now on the shelf for probably 3 or 4 months after having groin surgery. At least it's not the same kind of groin surgery Yadier Molina just had to have.
Christ.
I
think groin surgery. I think he had penis surgery.
Yeah.
I think that's what Yadier Molina had.
He had dick surgery.
He had penis surgery.
Yeah. You're a major league catcher. Wear a cup.
Dan Norris legitimately had groin surgery on the groin muscle there.
Muscle.
Yeah.
Molina
injury.
had a penis replacement.
He had a penoplasty.
And Miguel Cabrera is on the shelf this time for a hamstring strain.
Anything on here about? Oh yeah, Miguel Cabrera hurt again.
Yep. Hey, John Hicks is mashing.
Hey, story of the rest of Miguel Cabrera's career.
You're going to see him limp to the finish line just like Albert Pujols has. Speaking of which, Pujols did get 3,000 this week. Hit 3,000 hit this week.
DH.
So I got to get one thing for you guys. What are your thoughts about Ichiro's retirement, if you can call it that?
You know what I heard? You know what I heard is going to happen?
What's that?
He's going to retire for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle's going to open up in Japan next year.
They'll carry him for the beginning of the year and then cut him.
Carry him for opening day in Japan, and that'll be it.
Lame.
That'll be it.
I would love to be the 20, the last man on the roster who doesn't get to go on that trip to file a union grievance against him for bullshit.
Should we put anything about Michael Fulmer too? John Morosi reporting that the Tigers will
entertain
trade offers.
There's no news in that.
There really isn't.
It's like on the same thing.
That just tells me that Al Avila is willing to listen.
Serious about his job.
Well, he's just willing to listen to anything. Hey, you want to make me a good offer?
Michael Fulmer is a excellent player. Trading him will also shorten your rebuild by 1.5 years, 2 years.
I don't know if I completely agree with that, but you're entitled to your opinion.
You don't think you could get 3 excellent, player prospects in return for him?
Oh, I'm sure you probably could.
You don't think New York, the Yankees, in their desperation for pitching, you don't think you could pry Gleyber Torres and Clint Frazier away from them?
Hey! Like I said, I'm willing to listen to offers for anybody. I don't think anybody at this point should be off the table. Mm-hmm. You get some crazy, off the wall type of deal for Michael Fulmer, then yeah, you do it. But on the other hand, too, I could see them holding on to him. Mm-hmm. Because Michael Fulmer, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, he's everything you want in a young player.
Mm-hmm.
He's cheap. He's good.
He's 24 years old.
And healthy.
Yeah. So, but if you know what? If you're going to listen to offers on him, listen to offers on everybody. That's fine with me.
Hell, Jordan Zimmerman keeps pitching like he has his last 2 starts. You might be able to get something for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. He
finally figured out he can't blow it past people and change ups are valuable pitches. Yeah. What an amazing concept.
Whatever's not nailed down should be fair game.
And what is nailed down should be pried up.
Okay.
There you go. Anything else, guys?
Is the only who's the guy in the minors? Who's their top prospect?
Franklin Perez.
Yeah, is he the only guy not tradable?
No.
Who are you going to get for him?
You would use him in acquiring a major league star.
Yeah, but not this year.
You're not in a position to do that.
Not this year.
Yeah.
He also hasn't played this year.
I was going to say that's the only guy that you don't trade, right?
What about Matt Manning?
He's not that untouchable for me. None of those guys. They're prospects. They're not untouchable.
I know, but in the position that the Tigers are in now, you don't trade them.
If I could get an in-prime star player, I'd absolutely use it.
Okay.
Now, if the Tampa Bay Rays came to me and said you can have Kevin Kiermaier, all we want is Franklin Perez, where do I sign?
Is it Kiermaier on the DL?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need him to be ready right now. But you get my point. Cost controllable, young, quality player.
Like Michael Fulmer.
If I could get somebody else's equivalent of him and use Franklin Perez as a chip, sure. It's not untradeable.
I don't know. That you just proved my point, though, on why I don't want to get rid of Michael Fulmer.
Because you could get 2 or 3 of his potential?
Like I said, maybe. They're prospects.
Yeah, there are prospects. You could probably get a big league B player, 3 A or B level prospects for him because he doesn't cost anything and he's controllable.
Like I said, if you're gonna listen to offers, fine, that's fair enough.
All right. Anyway, anything else, guys? All right, that is going to wrap up this episode of Motor City Uncut, presented by the Major Sports Network Detroit. We're going to get the music going. There we go. Join us each and every week, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the various platforms you're seeing us, or join us on our website at detroit.themajors.net once Host Monster decides to get it up. So for Dorf, Adam, and Sean, I will see you all next week.